Hello and welcome everyone to round number 1 of ARL of Tier 1 here in France. Today's going to be a little bit different because I don't have Milo Gaming joining me. The vibe won't feel the same for sure, for me at least, but it is what it is. That's the way it is, sadly. So, obviously Milo won't be here, and I'm getting spammed to a party. Okay, I'm going on to no disturb. Well, right now you have DW at the top, which actually, with him, he has a one-shot quali deal, peeling his quali ban. Right now, it's Dylan at the top on his mediums. He did a one-shot quali with him, and that's the way his qualifying session goes, because he is got a penalty into this race. GSRX, no practice this weekend, goes up to P13. No, for sure. I mean, the vibe won't feel the same with no Milo. But you gotta deal with it. You gotta do everything you can, I guess, with this. So, 7 minutes left of the session already. Here's some of the guys in new rides. John, we didn't get to see him in preseason. He's in the Red Bull, new to the league, and he is going into the pits now. You have Silly Raves in the Haas. Who else was not in preseason? Gautier in the Red Bull. Yeah, that's really about it. Houndum was in preseason, but he's not able to race here today. There's 18 drivers who were able to race today. Ricochet was one of them who was originally able to race, but he was late to the lobby and kind of couldn't really race. As of right now, Booker sits at the top of the field. Polo yet to get in a lap sim with AMS Tax here. And the Mercedes, him and the Alfa Romeo. AMS Tax heading to the final 2 corners now to complete his lap on the hard tires. Tax goes P11. I'm gonna be right back right now, just so I don't have to do that later in stream. I'm gonna have to be right back. So 16 drivers have set in a time, as we have 7 people watching. Graham still yet to do a lap. Graham still yet to do a lap in the softs. He's on his out lap. So people going into the softs, it's a really interesting strategy because Because of the fact it's the preferred strategy being mediums to hards, and it's not usually softs to hards, which is probably one of the preferred strategies. But in the end, people are going to go for mediums to hards, and that's what got the win yesterday in Tier 2 with the 1-2 for Pluto and Milo. Milo not being able to join us today, which really does suck. Not sure why, but obviously happy Easter, everyone. Anyway, whoever enjoying their Easter here, and Sam Steed goes up to P12. John on a lap. Let's actually go on board with him this lap around France, heading to turn 3. You gotta hit this right side curb, which is really gonna help you. Just go a little bit on that left side curb that might have messed him up, and you gotta be careful about those curbs in that corner. Curbs is what really matters at this racetrack. You see, heading to the DRS straight, the left-hander just touch that curb just a little bit. You'll get a good run. DRS enabled here on the back straight, and you should set yourself up for a good chicane by braking pretty early. That's what's gonna help you the most. Braking at the 100-meter board, which is actually not even there, which will really screw people with no racing line. But the chicane, you want to get a good exit. That's what you want to focus on, and that's the number one thing you should be focused on in the chicane because of how things go there. Now through the fast right-hander, you want to take the apex just right as it says and right as it shows. Now through the long right-hander, you could either focus on entry here, or you could focus on your exit of the corner, or just get a good corner just like John did right there. Now, to the little long left-hander, turn 12. You don't want to go too wide out there because you'll get invalidated or a warning for it. Now, heading to the final 2 corners. This is where you want to go for the exit or entry, and that's the same way with the final corner. You might want to clip that curve just a little bit more, John. But heading to the start-finish line, here is his lap on the hard tires. He goes 4th. Let me see that. That's the highest driver on hards, and that's actually the highest American right now in this lobby. You have in this, out of the Americans, John, Axe, Bama, Raves, all in this lobby. And I believe that was F1 driver who gone to 2nd there, ahead of DW, and Graham to the top on softs. So he's trying a different strategy compared to his Renault teammate. Rizone goes P3. F1 driver right behind on those mediums. A different variety of strategies for the drivers. As you see a lot of guys, mediums, hards. Ton of mediums together. It's really tough the strategy you want to pull. Moker has retired from the session. He's going to stay P2 at least, so he's not going to be on pole in France. His best lap time was on the mediums, though. So that's what he's looking forward to doing, going on the mediums and starting on that tire. Compared to his teammate Graham, who is actually starting on the soft compound tire in Atlantis. To the line, it goes P10 on the mediums. It's the Alfa Romeo next of Polo God. No, that's F1 driver coming in the pits now. It's a McLaren. Alabama Outlaw to the line this time. He is yet to set a good time. He's coming to the line on the mediums, and where does he go? He goes P6. Was a decent lap. Risk point to the line. Mr. Axe starts his lap. Felipe starts his lap. The Alfa Romeo Polo God starting his lap. The Haas of Rumbly Fungus starting his lap. Braves should be starting his lap too. So, a few laps left and late in the qualifying session here. Remember, Dylan had the penalty he had, so he's not going to be qualifying up toward the front as much. Graham has retired from the session. He knows he's got pole for right now on those soft compound tires. Let's see who actually has the softs fit on. F1 driver, but he's not out there. ABS Jar, which is Apiscari. TSR Norris, Gautier. It's really debatable if you really want to go on softs. It's really tough if you actually want to go on softs. Rapalucas goes up to P4. Coming to the line, it's a Mercedes. It is AMS Tax starting his lap now. It's a Ferrari of Danny starting his lap. Both racing points coming to the line. Axe, where does he go? He goes P8. ABS Jarv starting his lap. Felipe to the line, and that is P4 for Felipe. The Alfa Romeo of Polo God to P7 right behind his teammate. F1 driver's not going to have enough for a soft lap, but he's trying to go out there to see what the softs definitely feel like. Raves up to P13, and a Torosa comes to the line. It is... Ooh, who was that? Razone. Checkered flag up to P3. F1 driver completed his lap. Now it is Rapalucas, the Williams driver. What can he do? Last season's champion. How are things going to go for him in this first race in qualifying? Coming to the line this time. There's the Ferrari, same seat behind. No, Rapalucas pits. So, Sam Steed next to the line. Also, AMS Tax coming to the line this time too. AMS Tax to the, or I'm sorry, Sam Steed to the line. Where is he gonna go? P9. Polo God actually rejoins the session. I'm not sure what happened to him. AMS Tax to the line this time. We finished a few laps here. AMS Tax now applies ERS to the line. What is it going to be for Tax? P10. Now Danny comes to the line in P18 to move up to P4. And GSR... No, that was... Who was that who just moved up? GSRX. That is qualifying over. Graham is on pole, and it's a Renault 1-2. That is the first front row lockout in Alpha Racing League. How about that? Point for Graham for pole. Graham being the only driver to go on the soft tires, getting pole position. Graham takes pole position with a 130.2, slower than last season's pole time, which was on softs. Boker, Razone, all P3, P2, P3. Then you have Danny, Felipe, Rapalucas, last season's champion, F1 driver, Polo, the two Alfa Romeos, and then DW and Sam Steed. DW starting mid-pack. Remember, last race, we had DW start mid-pack, and we saw what happened. Sam Steed back there, and 20 drivers line up on the grid. Renault is the first to get the first front row lockout, and you see is that it's sunset in France. It is pretty late there. It's actually 6:25 p.m. So it is getting close to the sunset, and now is about time. This race will definitely end under sunset. "20 drivers take up onto the grid here in France to start the first race of the season and the brand new season of season 2, and we'll just have to see how things shape up. Actually want to say something before I start the ones to watch. Rest in peace to Sterling Moss, F1 driver back when it first started. He's died at the age of 90. Rest in peace to him. And no matter what, I don't really know much about him too much. I probably should look up some more history about him. But he was one of the F1 drivers back when F1 first started. Back when F1 was quote-unquote more dangerous. Or just dangerous in general. So I applaud him for him racing in F1. And I definitely applaud him for definitely taking the danger of it. Now we go to the ones to watch. Mr. Boker. Clear favorite from preseason. He looks like the favorite right now for this league and for this season. Is it time for him to win? He won in Abu Dhabi. This is more of a DRS train track. How will things go for him? Will a safety car change things? How will that all go? Razone down in P3. Quali pace was really good in LDRL earlier this week. He looked like he was going to win the race, but he did not. It was Brazil, so that's a different track. But he was outrunning Boker, outrunning DW, and a few drivers here. So can he change that today, and how will that go? Felipe, he's shown the pace with topping the practice session in preseason. He has very fast pace, and with Felipe, he's got to stay consistent. That's his main issue. If he can stay consistent, he'll do fine. Rapalocas, last season's champion here, down in P6. Remember, this is around where he started last season, so can this change things? Remember, more people started on the softs last season. No safety cars, no VSCs, so think about this. If the safety car VSC comes out, can Rapalocas challenge the front of the field? F1 driver, won 3 races last season, the most race wins last season. Can he return to this season and make that more than 3 race wins? There's 12 races, 1 more race than last season, so if that changes the way it goes, we'll have to see. And my other 2 favorites, Polo God right now. You know what? I predicted him last season to be a favorite, but this season, it's actually him, I feel like. The bottle job days, are they over? Qualifying P8 in a very competitive qualifying session. If Polo can do this, this would be very shocking. With his pace, with the chaoticness in France, he could get it up there. And my last driver, I want to say, Gautier, home race for him. Look for him to gain more positions. He should be in the points by the end of the day. And if everything works out, hopefully he can maybe get a podium or even a top 5, just like last season where he got a top 5. Can things work out for Gautier, the French driver? It's his home race. Five red lights are coming here in France. We have 5 red lights now. We're just... Oh boy, we have a glitch. And it is Polo. But lights are out and away we go. Graham gets going, and there was a slow start from some of the people in the back. The Toro Rosso side by side with the Renault tucks in behind him. Now as we go through the pack, the Ferrari side by side with the McLaren. Clean so far into turn 1. Polo God has left the session. We keep it clean this time through turn 2 compared to last season where we didn't. Now heading down to turn 3. 3 wide actually through the midfield. Sam Seed getting past GSR-X. And there's a spinner. TSR Norris unlucky again. No safety car this time. So unlike GSR, we don't have the safety car on the first lap, so we kept it clean so far. Now, Graham pulling away on those softs. Hopefully... Oh, wow, Polo's Wi-Fi. Wow. Danny side by side with Felipe there for P4 into the chicane. They go wheel to wheel and contact again. Rapalocas tries to take advantage, but is not going to take advantage this time. So, either way, Felipe losing time to Rizone and is going to be within another big DRS train if he could keep this the way it's going. Polo God has actually joined back the session, so I'm glad he's able to be back in the session. Now it's a Renault 1-2. We see our first front row lockout. Will we see our first 1-2 in the league? Raves and his teammate Rumbly Fungus going side by side and wheel to wheel. F1 driver trying to challenge Rapalocas, last season's champion for P6. He's going to try to go down the inside, but it just did not work right there. Felipe trying to catch back up to the train of Rizone with the top spot. John past GSR-X in the Red Bull. An American battle you will love to see this season. Now, side by side with him and Tax. Axe and Tax. You wouldn't think that'd be getting mixed up, but it does. Axe does get ahead. And Tax is behind now, and he has his teammate ABS Jarv challenging him. So, John is one of the only drivers in the hard. Scouts here just pitted for hards. How are things gonna go here with everyone on the hard tires? You see here, Graham is on the softs, but John's on the hards. Is he trying for something? That's a Williams of DW going into the wall and creating a big mess down that back straightaway from cars trying to get by, and I think he might have damage. And does he have damage? A poor starting spot from that quali ban necessarily that he had. Side by side between Rapalocas and Danny. Danny stays ahead of Rapalocas for P5. Yeah, XR Ryan said he told Graham that mediums hards was the better strat. Well, Rizone does get passed and sideways there from Felipe. What's happened there? I've not been able to catch that F1 driver a little bit offline there because Rizone is challenging back onto the racetrack. I know F1 driver and Rapalocas are all in a party with the Williams and Alfa Romeo boys, so how's it going to go between them? Because Rapalocas does now challenge F1 driver for P6. Going to go down the inside here. Felipe setting the fastest lap on the second lap of the race. And Rapalucas does get back ahead. Polo God fastest lap as he is down in P19 on mediums. He did come back, so it might glitch him. How much faster was that fastest lap? Okay, then. 134.8. Yeah, that's a lap time you should be setting. Okay. I was just making sure the game wasn't glitching him. And he's left the session again. We've cursed him. Well, P5, P4, Rizone, and Danny here. Contact, wheel banging. And I think he's sideways. Did he get turned by Rapalucas? He's sideways, and he's did a half spin. He keeps it back going. And already to this France race, we've had drama, just like last season. This was the way last season's opener was. But, yeah. So, Boker behind Graham. I think Boker's going to have to try to defend off Felipe here, because Felipe is actually catching Graham and Boker, both the Renaults, as he's stuck behind that draft, as we have 4th on back to about 14th, really within this train that we see. Now Boker challenges for the lead, gets by Graham. Felipe fastest lap though, so that might actually scare a little bit of Boker here. Penalty for F1 driver already. You don't want to have a penalty this early into the race, but it has struck him already as you see the train of cars coming through. Turn 3, turn 4, and now turn 5. Big train of cars. This is insane. P4 on back. Polo God has rejoined the session again. Now Felipe is gaining on Graham. He needs to get by Graham if he wants to have a challenge with Boker, because this would be for the race lead based off of pit stops. Graham is definitely going to give a fight now, considering that's Boker's teammate. Felipe does get by, and Danny and Rapalucas make some contact there. That's some wheel banging. And Danny's going to go down the inside of Rapalucas. We saw what happened in Tier 2 here. You don't want to go down the inside and risk it too much, but he's going to go back down the inside as he was going to try it. And he just did not get the pass done. John is getting passed there by ABS Jarv and Rumbly Fungus. Now that gap for the race lead is kind of going away from Graham as those tires do start to fade. P4 on back, still within this amazing train, just like last season we had the train. Oh, there's a crash. It's Polo. Oh, what? Okay. That's dumb. Well, something Polo actually did talk about is fixing the host settings with Americans not hosting and Europeans hosting. Because of that, I would have got someone to host that's European, but we need to actually find someone who's a European who's actually has good internet. So maybe next race of Milo races we could have him host. Maybe, I don't know. We'll have to see. Felipe is gaining on Boker for the race lead, and that battle for P4 is still heating up here between these guys. Expect the medium runners to pit around lap 11 to 15 around earliest, and expect the hard runners to pit really later for them. We're zoned down the inside of AMS Tax here for P9. He's going to try the switchback, actually, and go down the inside of Tax. Oof. And he's going to go to the right side this time, so he's going to switch it back even more. Rizone around the outside of Tax. Can he complete the overtake, though? He's still down the inside. He forced him just a little bit offline, and Rizone is ahead there for P9. Fusser Norris gets up a penalty. Side by side between Rumbly Fungus and ABS Jarv. There was contact, and Jarv passed him off the racetrack. lap 6 of the Grand Prix already. We'll have to make sure we talk to the post-race drivers who get on the podium. Rapalux is starting to reel in Graham here, and you see the train that we have, just like Season 1 right now, that train within 6 laps is still staying. But now less and less cars within that train. There's contact, and around goes Fungus. Rumbly got turned there by ABS Jarv, making contact with him. And there he went around. Now, my question is about the virtual safety cars and safety cars. We saw VSC in the Tier 2 race, 2 of them actually. Will we see one today? Now, Graham is actually probably going to hold up Rapalux and the rest of the field here because he wants to get Boker the advantage he wants, his teammate. Now, I think Graham's coming in. He is. He's got enough speed, and he does get it perfectly into that pit lane. Battle for the race lead is still pretty interesting between Boker and Felipe. It is close between the Renault and McLaren. But back here, it is P3 on back to 8th. That train that we wanted to see here in France. Now, a train behind them is actually forming from P10 on back. See, I think it's 5-6 cars in this train. A lot of DRS train drivers in this train. A lot of train drivers in this DRS train in France. Now Felipe is gaining on Boker, using a lot of his ERS. Boker not using as much. Now he's using more. Felipe was within slipstream. Jarv is by Alanis now for P10. Graves picks up a penalty. On close to GSRX. GSRX started back on P8 last season here in this race. Doesn't look too well from him, but he's also gained a lot of positions. Actually gained 4. But gaining the most position is Alanis with 6 positions. So yeah, the race last season was actually won from P9. The podium was from P9, P7, and P20. Right now, the podium is from P2, P5, and P6. So, obviously, it's very early in the race. It's not even halfway yet at all. So, a lot of things can change. Raves goes by John, who's going off the racetrack. Polo God is out, retiring in the pit lane. Now, DW gets by John. A little bit of contact between them. Yeah, I understand why people do complain about the European host and American host stuff. I will be fixing that. Feel a flag somewhere. Still Polo's DNF car. Zone tried to go down the inside of Axe there. I caught a little bit of that. And he's going to go down the inside again on Axe. Little flag again. It's a Ferrari. No, it's not a Ferrari. It's Alfa Romeo. I don't know what I'm doing. P4 between Rapalux, Danny, and also Rapalux. Oh. No, Rapalux, Danny, and F1 driver. Well, that battle is that battle is heating up, and then oh, sorry, just responding to a message. The zone has actually spun. I'm sorry, this is crap. I'm commentating so bad. Well, ABS Drive goes by Rezone. Raves by DW. DW sideways right there. DW actually cuts the track and almost goes into Raves right there. That could have been a near collision. And DW is going to hit the back of him. Oh, he hit him off. He hit him off. And he's turned him. DW's hit him back. And DW's had some frustration with Raves. Yeah, DW not too happy with silly Raves there because of, I guess, contact with Raves, I guess. DW kind of similar to Abu Dhabi, again. Wasn't happy about contact, but this time instead of hitting Polo, just like he would have, he wrecked out, I guess, in a way, in Abu Dhabi. But now this time he wrecked back Raves. And I don't like these two being near each other. I don't really like it. So I want to focus on this, but we're going to focus right now on the race lead. Felipe is catching Boker. DW does pit. Axe is by Sam Steed. Rezone by ABS Jarv. F1 driver gaining up to these guys too. So, pit. Who's pit so far? Graham, Bama, and... No, Graham, DW now, and also Gautier. Well, P9 on back kind of has their train right now from Rezone, ABS Jarv, Atlantis, and TSR Norris. Actually, look at the race lead. Look at the gap right now. Here comes Felipe on Boker. Look at the difference between these two. Felipe going down the inside. He's going to try it, and he might get it done here. Side by side into the long right-hander. There is contact. Felipe goes back down the inside. Boker running on that curb. When do these guys pit? Around the next lap should be the target for when they should be pitting, but Boker pits early. F1 driver hits the back of Danny and is actually going to go to the pits instead. Ooh. Sam Steed on Axe for P4. Axe getting ahead still, and Sam Steed trying to switch back. We have F1 driver Rezone, Rumley Fungus also pitting. Close between P7, ABS Jarv, Atlantis, and TSR Norris. These guys are going back at it. Yeah, DW's incident will be investigated after the race because he was penalized before this race, and that was actually appealed. So, to the point where the penalty was actually cut down to just a one-shot quali. So, DW will probably be penalized again if that's the way it goes. ABS Jarv really trying to get around Atlantis, and Atlantis going down the inside and blocking that off. ABS Jarv down the inside, side by side, they make contact. And Jarv is ahead of Atlantis. Atlantis might try to get back by him. No, he won't. The leader, Felipe, pits. So does Repa Lucas. Probably so Boker doesn't get an undercut, but we'll just have to see the gap between the difference of them. Danny stays out. Well, ABS Jarv, Atlantis, and TSR Norris also stay out, so this is the battle for a podium right now in this race. Out of the guys who stayed out, second through fourth, John also stays out. So does Boker because he had recently pitted, but Felipe might actually come out ahead of Boker here. Side by side out of the pit lane. Boker gets ahead, but Felipe is just right behind, so not much of an undercut or overcut here. And can Graham actually go out to the end? That's a good question. Can he? Yellow flag, F1 driver. Something's happened with him. Yeah, can Graham actually go to the end? He might be able to, he might not. That's a tough decision from him. P2 on back is still close, but that battle for what the race lead will be. Felipe and Boker. You know, how much a safety car would change everything. 19 drivers still up in this race. In Tier 3, we had the least DNFs in a single ARL race at 1. Can we keep it the same way with just 1 today? I mean, that could really change. We had the most in Abu Dhabi last season with 10, and also Belgium. Most DNFs there in a race of Alpha. The leader does pit. ABS Jarv comes in, and so does TSR Norris. Graham takes a penalty. John stays out. Boker's now battling Felipe, which Felipe has DRS, but doesn't have his ERS applied, nor does Boker. Danny takes a time penalty behind Graham here for P6. Tax behind F1 driver, and also Jarv, Norris, and Bama are actually near each other. And Bama, I think, is one of the only drivers yet to pit. Yeah, Bama, John, and Alanis drivers yet to pit. Felipe gaining now on Boker into the chicane. This is going to be one of the battles we're going to see for the championship this season. If it stays the way it is, I think Felipe and Boker might be a good battle where you're going to see for the championship. Now, Felipe to the outside, cuts back. Felipe really wants to get around Boker here. Boker using that ERS, actually. No, he's not. Never mind. I saw ERS being applied, I thought. But it just wasn't. Graham behind Danny or P6. There's a lot of battles throughout this race, but we're halfway through there. And the leader of Atlantis does pit ahead of John. John does stay out. F1 driver, 3-second time penalty for him. Now, Boker staying ahead of Felipe. Felipe tried to look down the inside. It was just not enough right there for Felipe to make a move. Felipe, was that him picking up a penalty? I don't know. Was that? I saw 2 penalties pop up right there. He rode the curb. Boker actually picked up a penalty. Felipe has just a warning. This is going to get good by the end of the race. Yellow flag. Now, this is the battle for the race win right now, or the race lead even. And here comes Felipe to the right side of Boker. John sees this in his mirror, and Felipe goes by, but only has 1 warning on his race director right now. That should probably be changing in the next few 10 laps here, if he just keeps it clean or doesn't. Boker, some of the drivers usually say he's good for drivers on strict regular corner cutting. I think he hit the back of him, and he hit the back of Felipe. He lost some time from that, and that's going to allow Rapalucas to gain at least 5 to 6 tenths there. He gained a whole second. Rapalucas might be in this battle now if you can just ease his way up there. He might get in this if he could just time it perfect. And Boker did hit the back of Felipe there, as Boker carried way much more speed. John yet to pit this race, and he's definitely going to be staying out for a lot longer. Gonna try to go to the mediums maybe at the end of the race. Will he try to go to the softs? We'll have to see. Rapalucas, though, fastest lap right there. I'm telling you, he might be able to gain on these guys with Boker and Felipe if he could just time it perfect. Now the battle at the back, 12th on back. It is Bama who pits this time for the first time this race. It's Alanis, Jarv, and Norris. Again, this 3-car battle for P12. Alanis defending to the left side, Jarv to the right side, and not enough for an overtake. DRS for Boker, but also DRS for Felipe, which is going to help Felipe more than Boker. DW gets a penalty for corner cutting. Again. F1 driver getting on the same speed, but right now Boker behind Felipe again. He's going to try to get close to him. And is he going to try for an overtake right here? We saw what happened in Tier 2 in here, where you don't want to go through an overtake for here. But Boker, side by side, and makes it work that time. Felipe going to have the preferred line into the long left-hander. Boker trying for a switchback. He might be able to get it to the right side this time. Felipe giving the room he needs. And Felipe stays ahead of Boker. Great defending from Felipe. And John does pit this time. Everyone has pitted this race, so it's a good thing. We don't have anyone disqualified this time. Boker just gaining on Felipe, just little by little. Yeah, people did mention the internet for Americans and stuff. Yeah, I understand what you mean. Rapalucas does pick up a penalty. That's his first penalty. Boker has a penalty. GSRX picks up a penalty and gets also passed by Graham. And right now, the podium looks like Felipe, Boker, Rapalucas. We've seen some chaos in France, but we haven't seen much. John comes out behind the pair of these three cars in a train. DW gets another penalty. Well, actually, the race lead has changed between Boker and Felipe. I apologize for missing it. Felipe does get passed by Boker into the chicane, and Boker gets out with the race lead. Five cars in a gaggle of a train into the fast right-hander, now the long right-hander. Ferrari ahead of Renault, ahead of Racing Point, who goes wide, and ahead of Alfa Romeo, then Ferrari of Sam Steed. And jumping on the pack is Atlantis because of contact with ABS Jarv. No, there's just a position trade. Oh, well, F1 driver's going to go around with contact with the axe in front of the whole field. F1 driver going around, and he's going to be right near this pack with these guys. So how much does that change things? How much will that change things in the running order? Because F1 driver dropped down at least 3 to 4 positions with just losing that much. Rapalucas actually gaining on Felipe and Boker here for P1. I'm actually really curious to see, can he get within DRS in the next 5 laps? Is this what he needs to win the race? How do things go for Rapalucas? He's looking to set himself up for a podium, which is what's going to happen most likely. And then you have him also on the other challenge for the race win. 4-car train, P4 on back. Sam Steed made a look down the inside, but didn't do anything about it. Brimley Fungus sets the fastest lap of the race. John by Atlantis around the outside. Now his next goal is ABS Jarv and F1 driver. F1 driver defending to the left side. Side by side, wheel to wheel still. F1 driver in that preferred inside line, which might actually work out here if he doesn't make too much contact. He's still side by side. F1 driver with the switchback down the inside now. And John is going to challenge him for P12 or P11. Battles everywhere, and it sucks to miss the battle for the race lead we had seen. Rapalucas, as you see on that mini map or the full check map, is actually gaining a lot now on these guys for the race lead. Yeah. Right now, F1 driver gets by ABS Jarv. Side by side between him and John. There is contact. P4 on back. Graham, Denny, Axe, and Sam C. TS Norris picks up a penalty. F1 driver staying ahead of this 5-car train, leading it. We got Graham in this train. Another 4-car train, this time being at 4 cars. John passes F1 driver. Like it was just a turtle. I mean, he just really passed him and got by him. And he was able to stay ahead with that long and that much of DRS. Lap 18 out of 27 already in this race. Only one driver out of this race. It's Polo God. Yellow flag. Oh. Tia Norris. And that doesn't sound good. Axe behind these guys. Axe actually challenged himself for a good finish in this race last year. He is currently P4. Well, he was currently P4 in that race. He was P4 in that race, but he's currently P6. Why am I commentating this race? Seriously. Graham picks up a penalty, but Felipe doesn't have any penalties as of right now. Boker has a penalty and another warning. Felipe has 2 warnings. Okay. DW picks up a penalty, and he's definitely not going to be finishing too well in this race. How is this championship going to play out? We see just maybe like another 2012 season maybe between the midfield, or even 2018 or 2019 between the midfield. This midfield is crazy, so is the front of the field. Axe is down the inside of Graham, locking up. Contact with Graham, goes off the racetrack. And Rizone is going to be able to get within DRS this time if he could just stay within that 1 second gap that he needs. Right now, Graham is ahead of Rizone and in the back of that pack. Battle for the race lead still between Iran, Felipe, and Boker. See a long train for P4 on back. A lot of these races in France, including last season and including Tier 2 and Tier 3 this season, have had DRS trains. That's the main thing we've seen. With this, will we see a DRS train? Will we see even a safety car form in the late race? It all depends on anything that happens. A lot of drivers 4th on back are really close enough to do so to maybe cause a safety car based on an accident, collision, whatever. Whatever really happens, it's really going to depend on how this race changes so quickly. Rapaluk is kind of gaining on this front pair. Felipe gaining on Boker. You see P4 on back, that Ferrari. Danny trying to stay ahead, but is getting DRS off of Axe in that slipstream. They're side by side. They're inside of each other. And he picks up a penalty. Rizone gained to this pack, and now he's going to battle for P7 with Graham, but Axe is going to stay ahead? I don't know. Don't ask me. I don't know. Well, Danny's down the inside now. On Axe. There's contact. Danny's around. And just like that safety car I was talking about, it could happen. He resets onto the racetrack right in front of Tax. That was dangerous. For sure questionable of why he reset the way he did at the time. I understand why to reset the track because it, doesn't make you get spun back around and, lose time. I understand why you people reset the track, but it also creates a lot of danger with the other drivers. You got to think about the other drivers first. As I guess Dole Peak 21 is joined. Axe picks up a penalty. Might be a second penalty. We're going to check penalties between Felipe and Boker one more time. Felipe, 2 warnings. Boker, a penalty and just a warning. Rapalucas has the 1 penalty he has. Axe with 3 penalties. Sam Steed might get P4 in this race because he has just warnings. And Graham, look at the 4 penalties he has. Rizone, 3 penalties. Yeah, I think Sam Steed might be able to get P4 here based off of what we're seeing. And if I'm correct, Sam Steed actually had around 10th in points last season. Sam Steed, let me check it. Sam Steed had 11th in points last season. He showed up starting at Canada, or USA, I apologize. If he had showed up around this time last season with race 1, where could he gotten points? Because he was very close in that battle with Felipe, Gautier, and kind of far away from Bama, but he could have made something work with those earlier races. John and Tax go side by side. Through the long right-hander. Tax forcing him a bit wide. John coming back at it, though. And look at this. Rapalookas is within DRS range, but has very low ERS. Look at the ERS for Graham. ERS for Graham is actually really good right now. And this is something that may benefit him if a late safety car VSC comes out. This is the same time where a safety car came out in France, or Italy, apologize. So it could change things. We could see what happens. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if we see at least a VSC or safety car. It could change the way things go. Rapalookas DRS for him now, which is a good thing, because he wants this. He needs this. It's not that he wants it more, he needs this. In order for him to win this race, this is something he needs to win the race. Sam Steed gaining on Graham. Graham actually lost a lot of time to GSRX. GSRX, after not even being able to practice this race whatsoever, being very inactive, not really doing much as he would before every race, practicing at least once or twice the day before. Axe might get P4 off of this. On track. Okay? Because off of penalties, it doesn't look pretty for him. Graham picks up another penalty. That's his 5th penalty, I think. And it's not looked pretty for Graham, the Scottish driver. Felipe a little bit sideways off the curb. It's going to allow Rapalookas to get an advantage, but if Rapalookas gets by Felipe, will he have the chance to challenge Boker? Will he actually challenge Boker, though? We saw what happened when Boker and Rapalookas came together in preseason. Collided. Those two don't have the best history. Felipe's not going to have DRS here whatsoever, so not as much straight line speed for Felipe. See, look, yeah, lower ERS. Yep, he's not able to gain as much on the straightaway. But Rapalookas is gaining to him. Rapalookas finished 2nd in this race last season. Boker has a penalty. Think about this. Boker has a penalty and a warning. Felipe just needs another warning to get a penalty. This is crucial, depending on penalties. Rapalookas, penalty and a warning. Same thing as Boker. So, Rapalookas, it's really a challenge for 2nd right now with him and Boker. Felipe needs to stay within 3 seconds. Raves goes under the soft tires. Rumbly Fungus getting by him. Razone gets by Sam Steed. Penalties may change that position. Raves does pick up a penalty. Penalties will change that position if Sam Steed can stay within the gap he needs to with the amount of penalties the other drivers have. Jarv and Atlantis kind of weaving back and forth. Rapalookas is gaining on Felipe for P2. He's pressuring Felipe right now. He's trying to do everything he can. Make sure you don't miss GSR next week up the Partner League at Spain for their Tier 1. And also don't miss this next week in, I want to say... Don't miss this next week with Bahrain for ARL. Now Rapalookas is gaining on Felipe. He's going to get by him. Felipe needs to stay within the gap he needs to in order to win this race off of penalties. He's 1.7 seconds back. This may change things in these last 3 laps. How is his tire wear? How is Boker's tire wear? Boker, does he even pick up another penalty? Does that change positions with Rapalookas and him? How does everything go? Felipe has just 2 warnings, so it's staying clean for him. Danny and Tax, the 2 Finnish drivers, battling it out here. Danny tries to go down the inside. Tax stays ahead. And Tax stays in that position. Felipe is now within DRS of Rapalookas again, but he's losing time to Boker. If Felipe wants to win this race based off of penalties and based off of everything that's happened, he needs to do everything he can off of that gap that he needs to stay within. Right now that gap is 2.0 seconds. It may change things in the end of this race. Sam Seed kind of staying with Razone and Graham here for P5. Axe got this P4 comfortably though, based on track. And now the gap with Rapalucas and Felipe do change along with Boker. .1 seconds Rapalucas is within. Rapalucas does go a little bit wide. Boker, let's check his penalties and warnings. Boker, he's just... He can take another warning. Rapalucas can take another warning also. Remember, they need to... If you actually, you know, make a mistake and get a penalty for some stupid stuff, you need to screenshot your race director and actually send it after the race, along with your clip that you have. Because that changes the result. Not just taking away a warning, or not just taking away a penalty just because you got a warning. Side by side with Danny and Tax. Tax, P10 last season's race winner. Not doing so well. Rapalucas is not going to be within ERS, but he's within that second that he wanted to be within. Low ERS for Rapalucas. 2 laps to go this time. Look at the ERS difference between that top 3. It's insane. All below 15% here. You see how much that gap is changing. That gap between Felipe and Rapalucas and Boker. 2.3 seconds. Think about this. How crazy of a gap that is. .0 seconds, not within DS range right now. And Rapalucas, 1 second within Boker. I know he wants to challenge Boker, but is it enough time to challenge Boker? That's a good question. Razone actually gaining on Axe for P4. Now, as we head into Bahrain, what are we going to see? Because last season's winner was DW. DW's down in P14, pitting for softs, trying to go for the fastest lap. F1 driver, DW, and Norris all pit, trying to go for that fastest lap. They want an extra point. Maybe that changes the constructors, but Felipe is 2.9 seconds back from Boker. This gap for the race win. Felipe needs to push it right now if he wants to be able to win this race. He's now within a good enough gap from Rapalucas. 3.1 seconds back. Sam C gets by Graham for P6. John challenging these guys on mediums late in the race. Final lap for Boker. Boker is leading on the final lap, but Rapalucas is gaining just slightly. Felipe not within the gap he needs to be based off of penalties. Felipe needs to have the last lap of his life right now in order to win this race. He doesn't have any penalties. That may change in this lap. 3.4 seconds between Felipe and Boker. Raves picks up a time penalty. Rapalucas is trying to gain here on Boker. Equal ERS between these two. Is Rapalucas going to try and send one, even if he gets the chance to do so? Rapalucas will finish second 2 seasons in a row, but based off of penalties, Felipe is going to finish second behind Boker. Now, will that even change? The gap right now is 3.3 seconds. That gap is really changing. John, second highest American in this race. He's by Graham. That gap is 8/10 between Boker and Rapalucas. Rapalucas is slightly gaining. If he has a chance, will Rapalucas do? Felipe, 3.3 seconds right now. The closest gap in Alpha Racing League history was 0.8 in Canada. Felipe has no ERS left. No ERS whatsoever left for Felipe. Wow, 3.7 seconds is that gap. Felipe is trying to push it off track as most as he can. Mr. Boker, he took his first win in Abu Dhabi. He came to the league last season, last race. He's going to win back-to-back races after winning his first race. Boker does it. Boker takes the checkered flag. Felipe takes second by 7/10. The closest finish, Razone by Axe and making contact. Side by side off the front corner. Razone is by Axe, but will it be enough for Sam C to steal a position based off of pens? Axe is behind. John is ahead of both of them, and Sam Seed is ahead of them. And you also have Tax up to P8 based off of penalties. So Sam Seed with a P4 and John with a P5 in his debut. Now, will F1 driver or anyone else get that fastest lap they needed to take the race win? I think was it Gautier? Fastest lap? No, it was Bama now. Will F1 driver get that fastest lap? He does. 132.1. We're waiting across the line for DW, Norris, and the rest of the field. Do they get fastest lap? It looks like DW is going to get it. He does. 130. No, it was invalid, though. It was invalid. Oh, wow. Bama's looking to get DSQ'd here. Well, he gets the 10-second penalty he got, and he ain't going to be able to pass Rumbly Fungus. Boker, Rapalucas, and Felipe, the podium. Rapalucas with a podium just like last season in ARL Race 1. But it's a challenge for Boker. It's not so easy for him. With the race win, it was a challenge. Felipe looked like he had it, but he did not. Everything was going away from him in the final laps. Few drivers had no penalties. Gautier up to P13 from it. In this home race. Least DNFs in a single ARL race today. Look at the gap between P2 and P3. That's only a 100th. Felipe barely got ahead of Rapalucas. So, P2, P5, P6 is the podium finishers. And no penalties for Gautier, Sam Steed, and Felipe. Well, the pump finisher's joining me now. I'm just waiting for Booker to join the winner. Joining now.
Yeah, well, I was close.
Well, all right, Mr. Boker, just like Lewis Hamilton did, and just like trying to think who else did I know Lewis Hamilton did with it was Leclerc. It was Hamilton and Leclerc in real life. First race win for you in Abu Dhabi. Now it's back-to-back wins after your first win. Congratulations on the win. You held him off. How'd you hold him off for that long, Rapalucas and Felipe?
Well, basically, I had a penalty and I was trying to push, but Felipe was just staying in DRS, which was quite annoying. And I saw an opportunity, so I just pushed and pushed. And I was hoping Felipe and Rapalucas would battle, which they didn't really, but I saw Rapalucas took the penalty, so I think both of us pushed very hard and Felipe was out a few seconds at the end. It was hard fought. It was very hard to get out of DRS, so GG's to both. It was great racing.
Yeah, next race is Bahrain, and then we go to Singapore. Two interesting tracks on the other side of the world. How do you feel about you doing in those races? How do you feel that will go? And how do you also feel about the championship battle this season? Because you come into the season with Rapalucas, the reigning champion, and Felipe challenging you.
Okay, so Bahrain, that's one of my strongest tracks. It's very powerful on pads because of the traction zones. Yeah, I'm good at Bahrain, so I'm hoping for a win there. And Singapore, I'm not great, so I'll just have to take a lot of practice. And for the championship, it's going to be hard, but it's just going to take a lot of consistency and race wins.
Now, if I check correctly, Tier 1 race winners, you are actually, well, in Abu Dhabi, this is the way it was. You were actually the first, if I'm correct, pad winner. So how do you feel about that with your pad traction?
I don't have much to say about that. It's just pad traction, maybe.
But he wasn't. NUFC Ryan was.
Oh, NUFC Ryan was on a pad?
Yeah,
he's on pad.
Oh, he was?
Really
Oh, okay, I didn't know that, actually.
Yeah.
I thought he was in wheel. Well, okay. Okay, then. Didn't know that. Well, still, first winner of the season.
Sorry, James.
On pad, at least.
Not to be
Well, at least
I just had to point that out.
at least this season, that's the way it goes. With
Yeah.
you being the first winner of the season on pad, so I guess that makes you special. All right, congratulations on the win. Now on to you, Rappalucas. I was gonna say Felipe because I thought he finished second for a minute. It was close. Wait, no, Felipe did finish second. I'm dumb.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot. It was so close. I forgot who finished second. Felipe, make sure you include your audio. Felipe, every
did.
race you've gotten podium, you've been second. Also
Yeah.
want to point some out. This is the same podium in order from Abu Dhabi. Do you guys look to repeat that, Felipe? Do you think that'll happen again with you guys same podium, same order, in future races between you
I
three?
think it will happen next race in Bahrain. But then in Singapore, I'll hopefully take the win because Singapore is my favorite track, and yeah.
What's your time trial?
Alright, Lucas, you have a challenge.
What's your time trial?
33.8 or 44. No, I don't know.
Oh, you've won.
If it's 34, then that's shocking. If it's 33, that's good. Mine's a 33.9, I think. Obviously, the times don't update because, we're playing F1 2019, but I think I've done a 33.9 before. Yeah, nice.
Hey, you can't say that. I'll get banned on Mixer because of that. Just because someone reported. No, I was kidding. Either way, Felipe, every time you've been on podium, you finish second. Back in Italy, back in Abu Dhabi, and back today. With those consistent finishes you've had, if someone like Boker or Rappalucas has a bad race, do you think you're going to be able to capitalize for the rest of the season? We saw in preseason you were fastest, but do you think you need to improve your consistency in order to get in the championship battle and stay within it?
I think I hard to win, but I think I can get podiums, like consistency, but wins, it's hard. It always feels like someone is better than me, but I'm always at the top.
How do you feel about your chances at the end of the season with Brazil? I gotta mention that because it's technically a home race for you, because you're from Brazil.
Yeah.
How do you feel about a track like that for you, being the finale this season?
Tough, but it's about quality because it's really hard to overtake. But if I can just make it out right, then maybe I can win.
What's your time trial there?
Oh, shut up. Shut up.
No.
No.
If you're in the 7th,
Oh.
that's good.
Boca, who won PER Brazil by 11 seconds.
Yeah, let's ignore that I got took out,
Your future teammates found. He just wiped you. Oh,
Yeah.
God, that was so joke.
But
He was
yeah,
apologising for the
Brazil
whole
was
race.
just completely destroyed the championship.
Oh, don't worry, I held up our lane for you. innit?
Congratulations on P2 though, Felipe. I almost forgot where you finished. It was so close between you and Rappalucas. Congratulations on that, and a good finish for you and your McLaren team. Now Rappalucas, I don't think you'll be leading the constructors with Williams now, but I know you guys look like the favorite. What happened with your teammate DW? Do you have any clue of what happened with him in Raves? Because I know you guys were probably in a party, I'm gonna assume.
I probably shouldn't repeat what he said because
I already
you
have
get
a
that
feeling.
The mixer. You get that the mixer, but from his point of view, Rave just destroyed him, and then he got held up by Ionax or GSR Axe, whatever GSR plane crash,
qualifying,
whatever, in qualifying. And then he was really angry, but yeah, it's just nightmare. I mean, to be honest, he spun on like lap. I can't recall, but it was like lap 4 or 5-ish. He spun on the exit of the bit that leads onto the big straight.
He spun.
And then from there on, yeah, it was just quite hard for him to recover.
Now, this season, again, it's going to be more of a challenge for you being the reigning champion from last season. You kind of feel like you have more power being the one that everyone has to beat. But who do you see as your main rival, though, for the season?
Just before I answer your question, actually, being the champion, right? Sebastian Vettel said this once. Just because you have the number 1 on your car, just because you're the champion, it doesn't make you, 3 or 4 tenths faster. It's just a statistic in the past. But who's my main championship contenders? Well, I mean, the gentlemen that joined me on the podium, both very, very fast guys. I think my race pace on the hards, I believe I was slightly quicker than both of them. I'm not sure if James was just trying not to get a penalty at the end. That might be why he was. Why I managed to catch him.
He had to push because of Felipe though. So I mean.
Yeah, true.
Yep.
So yeah, I think these two gentlemen are going to be my main competition. Also, Danny, he's quite fast.
Yeah, I was surprised.
But he didn't seem to have the best race. Obviously, DW 16123.
You fucked.
1, 2, 3.
Oh, shit.
No, that's his name on Twitter. I know.
1, 6, 1, 2, 3.
That's his name on Twitter. It actually is.
You said 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, I know,
gotta
that's
take
his name on Twitter.
1612.
That's his name on Twitter. Yeah, 16123. Yeah, his name on Twitter.
Okay then. I
So,
want to ask.
Could've
I
just
think
said
James should
game
be kicked
attack.
from the league for that inappropriate language,
Yeah.
personally.
I
F1 driver, another one of a shocker today. I think he'll definitely be in contention for the championship. Have I missed anyone?
Yourself?
Obviously, Felipe and Bocraft said. Let's not
Oh,
talk about him because I think he raced onto the track like an absolute mong, and then he lost me, F1 driver Danny, and someone else like 3 seconds to Boca and Felipe, which is why the gap was so big and it was so hard to catch them in the later stages of the race. But yeah, I think that's like my main competition.
Well,
There's
Reese
one
is
more
well
as well.
too. He's quick.
Who?
Reese, the zone.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, Razone. Yeah,
He's
But he always
quick at
seems to
Bahrain.
spin, so
have the pace today.
Yeah.
But I feel like he's going to be another one of the contenders up front again.
He's
Um,
fast at Bahrain, so he's not liable there.
Yeah. He was fast in, what's it called? Not DAR. I'm thinking of something else. LDRL Bahrain. So,
Yeah.
he might be fast here. I mean, obviously, regular corner cutting, strict corner cutting plays a difference. You know that for sure, Boker. But, yeah. Either way, Rep Lucas. Podium again for you in France. How do you feel about keeping that streak up with Bahrain next week of podiums? The tracks you were getting podiums in season 1, and also Singapore
Yeah.
being next after that.
yeah. So I definitely it's an interesting one because obviously why I mean never mind. It's an interesting one because keeping a podium streak is difficult, but it's something that I definitely like to do this season. And hopefully next weekend I can get on that podium again, and hopefully it's the top step. Ideally Mr. Boca and Felipe just hit each other at turn 1, both DNF, and then I just come through and win the race. That would be ideal, but it probably won't happen.
I'll just get James to take you out.
Sure. I'll just tell him to take you out in what's it DAR. The roles will be reversed. Oh my god. Yeah. So hope you got the podium streak.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I've got to ask you, Boker. Okay then. I've got to ask you, Boker and Rabbi Lucas, both of you rivals. I know this probably doesn't matter because it's preseason, but does the rivalry with you guys from preseason, with you two at Abu Dhabi, the contact there, affect you guys into future races if you guys get that close to each other again? Does that affect you guys at all? Who wants to answer first between you two?
Feel free to answer first, James, if you don't mind.
Okay. Well, it's only like pre-season, but I'm hoping for like an actual penalty for either way. From if it's in the actual season, if it's like actual overtaking off the track. I'm fine with it right now. It's pre-season, a week gone. It's not like actual 25 points, but
Right.
hopefully there's actual penalties in the season.
No, I mean, there will be, and
Well, okay.
Rapper Lucas knows, because he got one in Canada for what he did to tax. Rapper Lucas knows. So, I mean, yeah, he knows. You guys know what the penalty would be. Rapper Lucas, how do you feel about you two going side by side on the racetrack, if it affects anything in the future?
Well, I mean, from my point of view, I was, pushed at the corner, and so I just I barely cut the corner anyway. Okay, let's not get into it. But I cut the corner. Okay, he pushed me, whatever. I didn't get a penalty because it was pre-season. So yeah, it's over and done with. I understand it was, pre-season. So yeah, I think we'll be alright, to be honest. We normally race away.
Well, congratulations to you on your P3 finish. Congratulations on the win there, Boker. Well,
Cheers.
a chance for you three to prove you're the champion, a championship contender this season. We'll have to see how that works out during the season because a lot can change. Within a race or two, we've seen in the 2012 season how much changed and going back and forth there. Even the 2008 season, how much changed right there between Massa, Hamilton, and also Raikkonen for a little while. So, what's going to happen this
2007.
season? We go to... Oh, yeah, actually, 2007.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
Alonso
he
too,
was
I
still
guess
in
he was put
contention in 2008. I think he did win.
Yeah,
a few
he
races,
was
but then he
till
just binned
Brazil.
it in, like 3 races in a row.
there. Yup. Yeah, it was till Brazil. Yeah, that's actually right. Either way, what are we going to see in Bahrain? Bahrain is next week for Tier 3 on Friday, Tier 2 on Saturday, and also Tier 1 on that Sunday. I've checked the Bahrain weather. Tier 3, the weather doesn't look the best, but we'll see how Tier 2 and Tier 1 look for
Hopefully
Bahrain.
someone's drying up at 9.
Well, it's going to be full wet conditions in Bahrain.
Oh, come on.
I mean, that precipitation chance doesn't look well from what I saw based off the real life weather. So we'll have to see how Bahrain takes a twist of things for Tier 3. If that happens, we'll have to see. Thank you everybody for watching, and hope you enjoyed it. Catch us next week in Bahrain. We'll see you then.